Super. Let me first thank Being uh, Building Council of Sri Lanka for arranging this meeting. I'm still at the office to deliver this speech, working late, mainly because of this today. But anyway, I'm happy to deliver this on behalf of just enthusiastic people like you to learn about marine pollution and again sustainable coastal development. So my topic today, the given topic is same. It's about tackling marine pollution and enable coastal infrastructure development in Sri Lanka and in general. I will talk about marine pollution very quickly in my first half, then impact of marine pollution. Then in the latter part, I will move into sustainable coastal infrastructure development and what are the issues we are having and what are the options we are having. I will briefly discuss with you. But if you have any questions, we have I think Q&A session. You can ask me at any time during the Q&A session. So if I start from here, so you can see our planet from the really bottom. So this is Antarctica. So you can see even though we label this our ocean as a five basic oceans, but in real term we have only one ocean. You can see everything is connected, right? So you have read only one ocean. So that's a one very basic concept. We should know that. So in the ocean there are a number of issues, but there are four major issues: invasive species, and overexploitation of living resources, and again physical alteration of and destruction of coastal marine habitats, and again marine pollution. So marine out of these four major issues, marine pollution is one of the major and one of the most critical issue that is we are tackling, especially in marine environment. You can see some pictures here. The solid waste pollution, not in Sri Lanka but other countries. Maybe looks Indonesia, the solid waste pollution. So we have the same situation. I will show some pictures later. We have the same sort of very gravy pollution level that is happening in our coastal waters. So what is marine pollution very basically? There's pollution in brief. If you add something to the environment, maybe energy, maybe some liquid or some any substances. If you add that to the environment, if that those things cause some deleterious or very hazardous changes in the environment, and that may cause irreversible damages to the environment and again to the animals there. That process is called pollution. And what we add in that case are pollutants. So when we add some pollutants, we can expect pollution. It's a very basic understanding, but there are some definition for marine pollution. If you go to this UNCLOS definition, UNCLOS is United Nations Convention of the Law of the Sea. UNCLOS definition, there are even you can find some WWF definition, EU definition for marine pollution. Any introduction by man, directly or indirectly, or substances or energy into the marine environment. Energy means, for example, if you add warm water, even cold water, right, even dynamites, energy, that also comes into dynamiting or blast fishing is again a kind of pollution. We can define blast fishing as a pollution event, right? Environment, even in estuaries, which results or like to result in such deleterious effects as harm to living resources and marine life, hazardous to human health, hindrance of marine activities, including fishing and other legitimate uses of the sea, impairment of quality of use of seawater, and reduction of its amenities. There's a major technical definition of marine pollution. So there are a number of definitions. If you browse on it, you will find. Right? So what are the major causes of marine pollution? Right. So we can find plastic waste, single-use plastics or fishing nets or the microplastics. Then oil pollution from oil tankers, drilling operations, and pipeline leaks. And again, because of catastrophic marine pollution. So because of the pollution, you can see some stats here about per year. We, as as you know, from whole world, all the countries, we had about 8 million tons of plastic to the ocean. It means it equal to dumping of one garbage truck to the ocean in every 5 minutes, every minute, right? So such, that this truck example give you the magnitude of the problem, right? Therefore, at the moment, there are about 150 million tons of plastics in the ocean today, right? That's the magnitude of ocean pollution. But from Sri Lankan perspective, you can see in 2007, when we collected some data, it's about per year we at about, this is from actually from coastal cleanup data. From coast, 32 million or 32.947 million kilograms per year we are adding from Sri Lanka. Is kilograms, right? Is tons 32,000 or approximately 33,000 tons, right, per year. These are examples, right? These from Vellavatta, some examples. These from uh, Nigambu, Saraku Kanda Nigambu. And this is Crow Islands, right? And this is, so what then? Not only this, these are the waste we are receiving, we are sending out through our rivers. And not only that, we are receiving some waste even from other countries. Those are called transboundary waste. So very recently we received some waste, huge amount of waste from India, along our southwestern coast. You can see those are clinical waste. That's a major issue there. It's dangerous to the even to beach users, right? So from Sinnapado to Adimune, the whole coast is in Nigambo, right? Covered with uh, this sort of garbage. You can see some cleanups, right? It's a garbage. Waste came from other countries through ocean currents and ocean winds, right? So those are called transboundary waste, as I told you. This is incident. And not only that, this waste also, bring huge amount of high amount of heavy metals. And therefore, there's a toxic pollution also coming with solid waste, right? Not only that, this oil pollution, the major marine disasters. This is from New Diamond actually. This New Diamond oil, oil slick. You can see from there. So this is slick from the close vicinity. So you can see thickness, thickness of oil slick, right? From New Diamond, right? And again, some pipeline leaks again from Colombo, the Covita region. Again, some oil pollution. The whole coast along this Dikko region covered with this crude oil. And again, pollution also industrial chemical waste, toxic chemicals, heavy metals, and untreated wastewater into water bodies, agricultural runoff, right? Pesticides, fertilizers, and animal waste into ocean. So nutrient pollution, and again expansion of dead zones. Those are the major pollution sources. You can see is Minis, right? Minis major beach, and there a canal just opening just at the center of Mirista Beach, well-known tourist beach. Look at the color here, right? This water contains heavy metals, other toxic chemicals, nutrients, right? And persistent organics, whatever chemicals it brings to the ocean. Not only that, you can see oil also there, right? So those are some examples. Then sewage and wastewater. So normally we dump, we sometimes we pump, or sometimes we let them, you know, uh, flow into some rivers and even lagoons or estuaries. So from that, it is ultimately it added into the ocean. And ocean dumping, deliberate dumping, industrial waste to the ocean, maybe radioactive material and trash directly into the ocean. These are it's banned, totally legal, but in some cases we come across some cases where some ships they do deliberate dumping, right? So look at this, some stats from Colombo, right? We have in Colombo we have two major sea outfalls. They pump untreated sewage. In Madampitia, the flow rate is about 340 liters per second. Vellavatta is about 390 liters per second, right? So this can be even seen from Google image, the sewage outflow, right, of Colombo. and and again, ocean is polluted through even atmospheric pollution. So what the airborne pollutants ultimately end up in the ocean, right? Through rains and other, settlements. And again, maritime disasters, ship accidents and others. And again, we don't talk, but it's heavy noise and light pollution. Noise pollution from waves, and again, noise pollution from uh, ships and boats. Huge. And on the other hand, this sounds penetrate or travel in very uh, high efficient way through ocean, through water columns. Therefore, this noise pollution become extremely, you know detrimental to marine species. For example, some marine species like dolphins and whales, they use sound for communication, to detect their prey. So in that case, this noise pollution becomes so, impactful for their social life, right? And even light pollution. And light pollution means, directing high superpower, light sources, light beams onto the beaches through flashlight lights and others. To In the case of, tourism, and in the case of some recreation activities, so that hinder turtle egg laying process. So those are the pollution level. It's some ship disasters. Some examples: MS Daniela. So one of the third largest container ships just got burnt off Colombo, right? MS Daniela. You can see the pollution level, chemical and other pollution level during the firefighting event, right? And again, new diamond case, east coast of Sri Lanka, and you can, I from new diamond, and it's well-known express pearl issue, and it totally took over by this fire, and ended up as a shipwreck. So you can see here the chemical plume and again oil slick. Oil both happen, right? And what are the impacts of those? Air pollution, the express part, right? Air pollution, thermal pollution, chemical pollution, physical pollution, covers and debris and nodule, plastic pollution and microplastic pollution, and oil pollution. So everything happened during express pearl issue. You can see thermal, it's express pearl, right? You can see some larger containers, 40 foot containers, right? And the nodule pollution. So this nodule or this plastic pollution is the worst in the history of, maritime disasters, right? In the case, from marine nodule perspective. And then, these are very basic, ways of marine pollution. Then what are the effects? So it harm to marine life. It causes changes in ecosystems, right? Ecosystem disruption. Human health risks, right? You can see here. This is a whale shark. Minimutumora, a whale shark, is a filter feeder. And again, this is a sperm whale, right? Huge whale. So this is one of the dead uh, sperm whale, and scientists in Indonesia, scientists has found 115 plastic cup in the gut, 25 plastic bags in the gut, the same, right? Four plastic bottles, four tons, and more than 1,000 pieces of plastics, because they ingest plastic, misidentifying plastic, and another sperm whale, right? This is in Spain. 29 kilograms of plastic bags got stuck in the gut during this death, right? And so those are the, impact of, especially the impact of marine pollution, mainly impact on these charismatic larger marine mammals, but others we don't see, right? What is happening? And economic damage. So it affects fishing infrastructure, industry, tourism, and climate change acceleration, because climate change causes some carbon imbalances. The waste cause some carbon imbalances in the ocean. And again, more nutrients means more productivity. And excess nutrient means excess productivity that lead into eutrophication. You can see dead zones are expanding, right? So ocean is dying because of pollution. These are open ocean dead zones, right? it means ocean is dying, right, because of pollution. Right. There are some news articles regarding dead zones in 2019. NEPA. We warned about dead zones in here about the Bay of Bengal and the center of Bay of Bengal. There were some records about a newly formed dead zone with a size of 64 square kilometers. This huge dead zone in Bay of Bengal region, right? And then here is not relevant, but microplastics. It's called plastic dust. So every plastic 5 millimeter are called microplastic. Any plastic particle or bead, whatever, less than 5 millimeters are called microplastics, right? So here, microplastic pollution. So microplastic again, micro less than 5 millimeters. So further down in the size, nano and picoplastics, small fine plastic, pieces. They also absorb chemicals, right? So they also absorb POPs, persistent organic pollutants, right? So therefore, these small particles we can declare them as small toxic bombs. So when animals when they filter feed, especially filter, they not only take plastic, they also get huge amount of toxic compounds into their bodies. So then what happens when they have toxic compounds? It has a huge impact on their metabolism and their reproductive cycles and their growth. Everything is become impacted, right? And even sometimes that may cause their genetic combustion also, right? So those compounds. And there are still microplastics are there in small animals like even these bivalves, even some other field feeding animals, right? Even some field feeding fish also they contain microplastics. Not only that, even very tiny isopods and large crayfish. These are not lobsters; these are crayfish. And even in these sort of small planktons, they also engulf or eat microplastic. And finally, how those larger whales died, plankton also died because of microplastic, right? So this is you can see a basic food web. So these are primary producers, primary consumers, then secondary consumers, then these are top predators at the end, right? But here microplastic attack here because they when they eat microplastic they die. And what happens here? So this very base of this food webs and food chains, they collapse because of microplastic. Then what happened to the rest? The whole food chains, food webs are in danger of collapsing. It means we have a problem in the future, right? Our food security or maybe marine biodiversity, everything, everything is in stake because of microplastic, right? Then what are the solutions, right? Marine pollution. So to reduce marine pollution, we can start from our home, from our coast, right? So because marine pollution starts from the coast. Therefore, the source is on the land. So we have to take actions from the land. So very basic, solutions for marine pollution. Very basic steps we can take. Reduce plastic use. We can ban single-use plastics, promoting recycling and biodegradable alternatives, and improve waste management system at municipal level. Stronger regulations, and again, oil countries to have more oil spill combating equipments or facilities or capabilities. And again, public awareness and education. Those are things we can do to reduce pollution from the land base. Once you control pollution from the land base, we can easily control pollution in the ocean because 90% of ocean pollutants are coming from the land-based sources, right? And ocean cleanup activities support renewable energy. Those are very basic things we can do. But under each topic, I must tell you that under each topic we can talk a lot. But I am for the sake of this time, this 1 hour time, I am just mentioning them without discussing anything, right? And even you see, erosion is a pollution, right? So when you erode coastline, that adds huge amount of sediments and again lots of again chemicals or whatever to the ocean. So that also causes pollution, right? And to reduce, the basic concept, 3R concept, reduce, reuse, recycle concept to reduce land-based pollution or waste management. The better management means less pollutants in the sea, right? Pick up litters, right? And buy less packaged items. And again, use your, reusable bags. Those are very widely used concept, but still we can use to control marine pollution. Also, then we can go for 6R: recycle, reuse, reduce, refuse, rethink, repair. And in Japan, they have gone even for 18R. There are 18R concepts just to have more efficient waste management system in Japan. But still in Sri Lanka, we use them, but not in real terms. But we know that, but even it means we don't use it to reduce pollution, right? And burning of garbage, reduce air pollution, right? Use public transportation, carpools. These are some, very fundamental theories we can use, right? You can look at this. This is strainer, right? That lay across the canals that trap all the floating plastics. Like this is canal in China, right? It's called boom, but anyway, it trap all these floating. Very simple methods, simple devices that but very effectively control marine pollution, right, from land. This one established in the Canal, right? You can see how it trap in trap plastic, and from here you can scoop it out, right? Like this trapped plastic from here. These are called ocean strainers. And cleanup activities. Cleanup, I'm not fully sure about those cleanup. They are good for awareness. They are good for get people on board. Their cleanups are very good for get people engaged. But cleanup activities are not so efficient in controlling marine pollution, because here we tackle the problem from the very end, whereas we have totally forgotten the source in cleanups. But now at the moment there are clean Sri Lanka program. So under Clean Sri Lanka programs also is a very timely program where we can engage in waste management, proper waste management. From that we can control marine pollution happening in Sri Lanka, right? And clean canals, and again, unethical usage of plastics. Yeah, these are from plastics from a temple, right? These are plastics from a temple, right? We have moved from our sustainable, you know, products into more environmentally damaging, unsustainable products. I want to say that here, right? And even we have, uh, this shows how unethically we use plastics are, right? Plastics are, of course, we need plastic. I am not against plastic, but we have to ensure ethical use of plastic, right? For example, single-use plastic like straws and this sort of. So when I consume something through a straw, I think it's okay. I don't have to worry because I am using only one straw. But at in our planet we have 8 billion people. Suppose all think that okay, so one straw, so they use straws to consume their drinks. So per day we emit about 8 billion straws. So that is how we have to think, to understand the gravity of the issue. And if you can go for some basic concepts like polluter pay, EPR, CSR, from CSR to ISR, individual social responsibility, because I am still more focusing on coastal or land-based pollution, because that is a very source point for ocean pollution. And again, government agencies' social responsibility, and these sort of illegal, unethical waste dumping along roads, because our roads are kind of, people think that our roads are just dump yards. They can dump anything, right? Like this. And these are the very basic source for marine pollution at the end, because ultimately everything end up in the ocean, So, but open air burning, that cause air pollution, but that also trigger at the end the marine pollution, because it's banned anyway. The ban burning of plastic in coastal in open air is banned in Sri Lanka, but still we do it, right? And these floating plastics from harbors and in water bodies. You can see this harbor is an environmentally friendly harbor, right? With lots of green concepts there. Then blue flag beaches. So blue flag is a kind of certification system for beaches, because for to certify something we can issue a certificate. It is a normal certificate. It's a, normal paper. But we can't issue a paper to a beach. Nobody will see it. Therefore, we issue a flag, blue flag. You can see the blue flag. It's a kind of certification. To receive this blue flag, we have to achieve at maybe 32 criteria. Once you meet those criteria, the beach is certified as a blue flag beach. Those criteria are very stringent. Good water quality, access to disabled people, information center, and bathing areas, night lights, lots of those lots of criteria are there, 32 criteria. But in India, you can see India also have blue flag beaches, right? But in Sri Lanka, still we are discussing. This is me. This is Daniel Schaffer. He's a CEO of this blue flag certification agency. We've been discussing this. He even visited Sri Lanka in 2000, I think 19. But still, we are still at the same place without we failed actually uh, declaring a uh, blue flag beach so far. And again, there are lots of international conventions to control marine pollution from ships, especially. So we have MARPOL, International Convention for the Prevention of Pollution from Ships, and we have UNCLOS, because UNCLOS also provides uh, gives some provisions to marine pollution control. And you have London Convention, London Dumping Protocol, it's called London Dumping Convention, 1972, London Protocol. You have Basel Convention, the OPRC Convention, International Convention on Oil Pollution Preparedness, Responses and Cooperation, OPRC. And we have Ballast Water Management Convention, Stockholm Convention, 2001, and Minamata. So I prefer if you can read on each topic to learn about some more about this convention, just to control marine pollution from ship-based marine pollution. But still, we can stop ship dumping, waste from sewage from ships, oil pollution from ships. Those are covered under MARPOL Annex 1 to 6. There are six annexes there covered under MARPOL, right? Right. Then now I move into those is marine pollution. Then I move to green building concept, right? For coastal buildings, right? So this green building concept for coastal buildings focus on sustainability. Building concepts, is focusing on sustainability, resilience, and in energy efficiency, right? And that still focusing on coastal environments such as seawater or saltwater intrusion, corrosion, high humidity, erosion, right? And coastal hazards like storms, tsunami, everything, and rising sea levels. So in coastal green buildings, we have to consider everything what I just mentioned, right? For example, here, sustainable design and site selection. When you site select for coastal construction from coastal green building, you have to be very careful, right? Because, especially because of sea level. So you can see from 1993, 2022, 10 centimeters has gone up sea level. Is you may think that this is nothing much, but this has a huge impact on our coastal areas. And in even for the future, we expect, you know, to have more and more sea level rises because of this global warming. Because with the global warming, seas swell because of the high heated, atmosphere. The heat transfer to the sea, then seawater expands. Therefore, seas swell because they therefore sea level rise very quickly. These are the prone areas for sea level rise in Sri Lanka. So when you develop when you site select, you have to be very careful about this, especially erosion prone areas. Like this Hikkaru you can see. So no inundation, but if there is a 1 meter sea level rise, you can see the areas inundated with sea, right? So you have to think about sea level rise and the elevation of lands and the erosion rates. Some areas in West Coast per day we lose about 10 meters of the land, right? So you have to, of course, think about if you locate um, your buildings or construction, you have to think about sea level rise, erosion rates, and again on top of that, then this coastal flooding. You have established one of your, maybe resort by the coast, and maybe 5 years later, you expect this sort of coastal flooding. So your investment will go in vain. Right? We have to think of that. and the erosion rates, right? And that is why, from our side, from coast conservation and coastal resources department perspective, we have established some setbacks. Setbacks means we have reserved some areas for the ocean, to the nature, to decide its own sea, the coastline, right? So furthermore, here this is the coastline here, but in the future with sea level, we can expect some more coastline expand towards land side, right? So for that sea level climate and development also, that also can impact it. And there are two sort of setbacks: vertical and horizontal setback. So this is mean sea level, right? So you can see if the sea level goes up, of course so you have to think, let's start from here, right? Vertical sea level. So look at this. So this is vertical setback, maybe let's say 1 meter, but horizontal setback is about here, about let's say 50 meters, 30 meters, depending on the topography of this area, right? So this is, if you establish a house somewhere here, right? Here, let's say here, maybe 10 meters time, this is the sea level, and the coastline will be somewhere here. So what happens to the house? Look, it will, of course, will go in vain, right? It will be taken by the waves in in hours time. So there's the danger zone. So you have to always avoid this danger zone. That's why we have, from our side, we have established a setbacks line. So this is mean sea level. This is the PVL line. PVL line is the permanent vegetation line. From there, there's a reservation area. No, nothing is allowed in this area, in reservation area. But in there's another zone, also restricted zone. So in this area, if you want to build something, you have to stick to very stringent guidelines. So total reservation area plus restricted area is our total setback, right? So the width of this reservation and restricted area differ from place to place, depending on the topography, depending on the shoreline sensitivity, right? Therefore, if you go to CCT, Coast Conservation Department website, you can see in your particular area what's your total setback is and what's your reservation area is. Because when you plan something, you have to, of course, leave those area. Then you have to plan everything from starting from that reservation area, right? Because reservation area is a no build zone, but you can plant some trees, you can do some vegetation, but you are not supposed to build anything. But from restricted area, yes, you can. But with some conditions, right? That is mainly for to allowing sea level to determine its own uh, shoreline with the sea level rise. This is just to support you, right? Not for the sake of having a setback line on the beach. Setback lines has been established just to protect the investors, support investors. So you can see here, this is the PVL line, right? PVL line. This is a PVL line, right? Then in coastal areas, another major issue is the erosion, so corrosion, right? Once if you use metal, that you will be learning the lessons in weeks time. Even the concrete, even your televisions, right? Even your computers, even whatever the very sensitive equipments you use in the coastal areas, coastal buildings, you have to tackle with erosion. Even your air conditioners, they will lose you will lose your air conditioners in months time, right? So that is the main problem you have to tackle when you think about green development, the developments in the coastal areas. And energy efficient, right? Incorporate solar panels, wind turbines for renewable energy, design buildings for natural ventilation, and reduce air conditioning loads. Use energy efficient appliances, LEDs, lighting, and smart energy management systems. You can see here solar panels, right? To look for renewable energies and with natural ventilation to reduce your energy use for air conditioning. Some examples are here, right? Look, not only energy, even light, natural light and natural ventilation is nicely given in this sort of designs, right? And water management, because in coastal areas, in most of the places, the water is one of the issues there, right? If you are depending on well waters, because uh, some areas you can see salt water intrusion. Therefore, some well waters, even well waters, they are a bit salty, right? Not total pure for drinking. Therefore, we have to think about implement a rainwater harvesting system, or maybe use permeable paving to absorb more, to recharge your water tables, right? And green roofs to manage stormwater runoff, install water efficient and grey water recycling system. You can see rainwater harvesting systems, and maybe green roofing in coastal areas, right? So this again reduce energy uses because that absorb heat, but at initial cost are high, of course, but still long term you are getting benefits. Green roofing and bio wells. These are the wells. This absorb water and provide well filtered water to the pipeline, and at the same time it provides water to the vegetation in this city. Those are called biospheres, right? It's very common. You can see it here, right? In coastal areas, you can use these techniques, save to uh, uh, wisely manage your rainwaters, right? And using grey water for some activities. For example, gardening, you can use grey water. Grey water is water from your washing, and again from your bathing areas, and even from your sink, and even from kitchen. You recycle them and use them in gardening. Grey water. You have a systems, and you have holding tanks, and you have distributing tank. Then from that you distribute even for the gardening, irrigation, and even you can use grey water, treated grey water, and for even to toilet flushing, right? So some concept for you. And climate responsive architecture, right? Elevate structures to mitigate flood risk in the future. Devices overhangs and reflective roofing to reduce heat absorption, right? So here you can see uh, using natural shades for your buildings, right? To reduce the heat. And again, here you can see dams and some elevations to get some protection. You can see some elevation here to get some protection for your infrastructure here, even for dams and elevated structures, expecting some future flooding or maybe future sea level rise. So rising your home on pilings, right? And these are aerodynamic buildings. So you can see this building is designed as a hurricane prone or cyclone prone hurricane design. So it not only this building does not act as a complete barricade, but it reflect those wind power and get the protection, maximum protection for the residents in these buildings, right? And these are so the mitigation of wind load. Some designs, the building designs you can use them, right? Some examples from other countries. And again, biodiversity and ecosystem integration. So how do you integrate your construction into biodiversity and ecosystem? Right, preserve and restore coastal vegetation such as dunes, mangroves, and natural protection. Design with living shoreline instead of sea walls. So stop sea walls and others, but design offshore, maybe environmental friendly erosion control measures. Incubate green spaces, rooftop gardens, and vertical landscaping. Look at this here, and you can see restoration in around your this area, in your project area, to do some more kind of organic concept to your to design, and these sort of planting and having those natural vegetation lying around your establishments, and maybe have in front of your hotels or restoration hotel or in your establishment some coral restoration, reef balls like this, ecosystem restoration. And again have with So go for submerged reef for control erosion in front of your resorts. So then you can have a nice, calm area for bathing and others. And still you can ensure a very safe, protected beaches. Here you can see well-designed breakwaters that help to build a auto-build some sandy areas. And we have to say no for these sort of revertments, right? So we had to go from here, we had to go for these options, right? Those are some green concepts in and vertical, landscape, right? From here you can see vertical landscape in this hotel, right? And again, this is within the hotel you can see vertical, bio walls kind of. Look at this, right? For coastal areas like this will help, have more high humidity and low temperatures and less air conditioning needs because of these vertical walls, right? And waste reduction from your establishments. Utilize modular construction techniques, recycle construction debris, and use reclaimed materials where possible. Encourage adaptive reuse existing structures rather than demolition. Look at this. It's modular construction, right? This is the latest and very highly efficient way of building. So that will reduce your waste generation, the construction waste generation. If you have construction waste, reuse them in whatever the possible way, and without demolishing everything, renovate. Go to renovation. There's before after. It's a looks old, but look, uh, bit old. But here is very new, modern looking, right? And some contemporary designs, but same building with less energy, with less resources. And again, smart building technologies use lot based. It means technologies. You have sensor control light, sensor control CCTV, in automated shading and cooling system for your house or establishment. Employ sensors to detect humidity leaks and structural stress of the installment. Not based, so go smart for you, right? Even for motion sensors, lighting, smart looking thermostats to control, keep the temperature levels, and smart cameras, smart TV. Go to that, high tech uh, uh, solutions, and auto shading, right? Here you can see and look at this auto shading. So these are all for to reduce go for high tech uh, solution for to have a smart houses, right? And again, some detectors to detect your internal leaks and maybe leaks in hot water or your plumbing system leaks. You can These are new techniques you can use to have more green buildings. And again, look at this. So when you have greener buildings, again think about social issues. But look in this area, if you want to establish a bigger hotel, so there is a big issue with this slum, people living in these slums, and your company or whoever you want to invest here. So in green buildings, when you have to think about some social issues also, right? The same thing happened in Sri Lanka. In most of the places, when high investors they come to Sri Lanka to invest, they have some issues with fishermen and local people. Some about our roads and some spaces. So if you go for green, you have to think that also, right? So that's all regarding my presentation about marine pollution is one aspect, but coastal green concepts for coastal development. So these are some ideas I gave you, but still there are plenty you can do, plenty. But here I just gave you some formatted kind of vision for you to think how to apply your ideas into coastal areas. So that's all from me. Switch into our Q&A session. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Turney, uh, for such an insightful presentation on marine pollution and sustainable coastal infrastructure development. Your insights into policy driven conservation efforts and innovative solutions have given us a deeper understanding of challenges and opportunities we have in this field. So now it's time to engage with our audience. So if you have any questions, please feel free to type in chat or unmute your microphone and raise or directly ask. We will address as many as possible with the time permits.
Thank you, sir. This is the time for the audience for the question and answer session. So, audience, if you have any questions, you can ask from our resource person. Yes, Tuminda, you can ask your question.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
The thing is actually, what I'm going to say is I got to know that you told us that there's a problem of coastal environmental pollution. I saw that, sir, there under Sri Lankan condition, most of the coastal areas are polluted with number of plastics and bottles and any other things. The thing is, why can't we make a specific approach for the collecting of that type of pollutants by paying for the person? The thing is, actually, I got to know that there are a number of collecting centers are available under Sri Lankan conditions. Why can't we pay the specific payment for the bulk of plastic? As an example, some payment for per kilogram or the specific type of bottles like that. Because why can't we uh, establish this type of approaches under Sri Lankan conditions?
Yeah, thank you. So those systems are there, but the thing is, not like other countries, we are not applying it in a larger scale, you know. So if you go to other countries, you can say you can sell, you can return your plastics, and you can even get some money. Even you can get in some programs, you can even get some tickets for cinema, right? Even you get some tickets for train tickets also you can get. But here we discuss, and still from government, from countryside, we have not applied that, because that goes under EPR, extended producer responsibility. It's a producer's responsibility to take his own pollutants, right? So those things we discussed in some in Colombo, in some agencies they do. Now I know that Coca-Cola is going to start collecting their bottles back. So the problem is, those are very possible solutions we can easily implement. But from the government side, we are taking too much time, and we don't take proper decisions at proper time. There's a problem, but those are being discussed. We've been discussed those solutions for years now. But the problem is we are not implementing them in a national level. And even if we implement them in national level, there should be a system to send them to the recyclers, or other producers who use them, those plastic as raw material for their products. So those systems are not in place at the moment. That is why we can't see such good efficiency in those programs. It's a good question. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir.
Any others? Is there any questions?
Then we can wind. Any regulations related to any regulations related to those coastal infrastructure? Yes, if you check UDA, Urban Development Authority has their own guidelines for building, the height of the buildings, and even some conditions, even uh, then tourism ministry, their SLTDA, they have some guidelines for hotels and their room sizes, washroom sizes. Those guidelines are there. Yes, so there are lots of guidelines available. From CEA side, Central Environment Authority, they have guidelines for waste disposal. And from MIPA, they have some guidelines. But from our side, we have guidelines for those setbacks. And yes, ODA, and even some if an area closer to archaeological monuments, then there are some guidelines for Department of Archaeology. Yes, guidelines are available. So if you are a designer, if you are architect, of course, you have to know all these guidelines, and you have to prepare your designs, drawings as per the guidelines. Even some local governments has their own guidelines. You have to follow them. Did you send any link for certificates for that? Ocean pollution from due to coastal erosion is one of the major issues. So coastal erosion, the issue is that we have people losing properties, people losing their all their living standards, they are losing, right? So it's a big problem. But because of erosion is because pollution is a secondary impact of pollution, right? So no, pollution is a secondary impact of erosion. But erosion has huge direct primary impacts about, we are losing our lands, we are losing our crops, coconut and everything gone. We are losing our, houses and infrastructure, roads disappear in days. Yes, it's a huge issue in Sri Lanka. And we have to spend huge amount of money, millions of money to uh, deter predation, deter erosion, or maybe take countermeasures regarding erosion, right?
From my
Yes,
side.
sir.
As a design, there's another question as design how to prevent the seismic load in coastal areas. So to prevent that, I think you have to do some soil testing, and again you have to check the previous uh, earthquake or whatever the tremor frequencies. You have to contact in that case GSMB, Geological Service and Mines Bureau. And for soil testing, I think yes, GSMB do that. So yes, that also you have to maybe soil compact ratio, number of things you have to think, right? So you have to think all these aspects when you design something. Any strategy or reviewing or so we are proposing to update everything because all these are very age-old, year-old regulations, and our systems are developing very fast, and our development sector is improving very fast. Therefore, we have to update our existing legal setup. So therefore, uh, we have to do that. There's a huge need, grave need for to uh, improve our legal and regulation system. The soil testing is enough for coastal area. No, there are number of testing available. If you're a constructor, please contact GSMB. So they might give you some ideas about the test you need.
So my
even you have to
second,
do you have to do traffic evaluation reports. Those also there, right? If you go for a condominium type of building.
so my second question, can you hear me?
Go ahead.
Is there any vessel management strategies under Sri Lankan condition with a specific legal framework for the conservation of coastal environmental pollution?
Which vessel you are referring?
The vessels coming from foreign countries and any other countries. The thing is, actually, we should tally with the Sri Lankan government rules and regulations. No, then
Yeah, for vessels there are huge amount of those conventions, international conventions, and they have to follow all these guidelines. They are very stringent and very strict, and they are becoming more strict and strict, right? Even for the emission, for their speeds, for labor issues, and for their cargo issues, even cargo storage, and a huge amount of guidelines are there. So if you want to become mariner, if you want to become ship captain, you have to know everything, right? It's not an easy task. Yeah, there are lots of such guidelines given in vessel operation in Sri Lanka. Not only Sri Lanka, it's a global situation.
thank you, sir.
Okay. I think you can wind up. I'll go home.
Yes, sir. On behalf of the Green Building Council of Sri Lanka, I extend our heartfelt gratitude to Professor P.B. TERNEY Pradeep Kumara for sharing his time, knowledge, and invaluable expertise with us. Your contributions to marine conservation and coastal sustainability are truly inspiring, and we appreciate your continued effort to this critical area. To our wonderful audience, thank you for your active participation and engagement. Your enthusiasm and curiosity make session like this impactful and meaningful. We look forward to seeing you again at our next Green Talk session, where we continue our journey towards sustainability and environmental stewardship. And thank you very much, sir. Thank you, others also.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.